Resisting tyranny
is through freedom and self-reliance.
The views.
The financial meltdown. The year is 2014. All the U.S. banks have been nationalized. Unemployment is about between 12 and 20%. Dow is trading at 2,800. The real estate market has collapsed. Government and unions control most of the business, and America's credit rating has been downgraded. That's the first scenario. I want to talk to you now about something called the Bubba effect. I believe this part of the scenario is likely to happen, and I hope to God it doesn't. But we need to talk about it. Tim Strong is a retired Command Sergeant Major in the U.S. Army. Hey, Tim, how are you?
Hey, Glenn. Good evening. How are you doing tonight?
Explain what the Bubba effect is. This is something that the military has been concerned about.
Well, we'll go back to the segue of the survivalist attitude. You know, it's that American that exists, that believes and trusts an American as it currently exists, and you know, they lose that faith and confidence within the various politicians and the areas that surround them. They end up developing their own infrastructure, their own means to survive, to basically fend for themselves. The disadvantage to that, Glenn, is with the Bubba effect, is it's not the diesel trucks and all that as we currently refer to, but you know, they can critically be a key play when it comes to, you know, having their own biofuel, that type of stuff to survive. You know, they'll have their own community, they'll be very conscious of who enters their community, and it's almost going to be a commune-based society, but they won't project that based on the fact that they want to project normalcy. Okay. But those that enter their space that are threatening to them, and again, we don't want to use the word profiling, but that's, you're definitely going to stand out. You're not going to look like a Bubba.
Okay.
And
so Tim, I want to break here. I have to take a commercial break, but I want to, at the bottom of the hour, I want to come back and show how that community, because that's like Mad Max community, how that actually starts here, how that is probably beginning, it has already begun here in America, and how it manifests itself. What are the other pressures that are building around the globe? And what if the U.S. can no longer be the world's policeman because the economy, the global economy, has broken down? That scenario, when we return.
The modern-day militia movement begins in 1994. By 1995, at the height of their popularity, there are more than 1 million militia members in the United States. Militias consider themselves patriots, who, like America's founding fathers, are willing to fight for the principles on which this country was founded over 200 years ago. Although times have changed, some people feel it's dangerous to let the federal government's power over its citizens steadily increase. Militias believe that the only way to sustain a government of the people, by the people, for the people, is through freedom and self-reliance.
The government coming in and disenfranchising people over and over and over again, and having the people say, please listen to us. The average person, some people will listen to the government, but others, and I'm seeing it already, they know the Constitution, they know the writings of the founders, and they feel the government has betrayed the Constitution, and so they will see themselves as people who are standing up for the Constitution. So how do you diffuse this, Michael, or how long even do we have before this becomes a crazy real scenario?
Well, I don't think you'd want to diffuse it, Glenn. We've had a 40-minute program so far, and all of the problems we've talked about in one way or another are the result of the American government either overspending or overreaching.
Wait a minute. Are both of you guys saying that you don't want to... I don't think we would head for an American revolution. We would head for a French revolution. It would... This is a scenario that would tear this country apart and spiral us into something that maybe we have never even seen before, including the Civil War.
Glenn, the Second Amendment is about, at base, not about hunting or about a militia, but about resisting tyranny. the founders were very concerned about allowing individual citizens weaponry to defend themselves as a last resort against the tyrannical government. I don't think the government, the founders ever considered that there would be a tyranny of incompetence, but I think that's what we're facing.
Okay.
And ultimately, that's
Gentlemen,
the right of the American.
Both of you guys, I mean, I can't believe I'm hearing this, and don't get me wrong, I am against the government, and I think that they have just been horrible, and I do think they are betraying the principles of our founders every day they're in office. We have military exercises going on in Iowa right now. We have a battalion, I believe in Maryland. People are training for civil unrest all over the country. I believe the answers, that they give, and they say, well, this is for this kind of unrest or this kind of unrest. Except we just had in our stimulus package a way for, if your governor says no to the money, the legislature can go around the governor and go right to the feds. It's this kind of thing that would make the federal government say, you know what, we can call up the National Guard. We don't need your governor to do it.
Militias consider themselves patriots, who, like America's founding fathers, are willing to fight for the principles on which this country was founded over 200 years ago. Militias believe that the only way to sustain a government of the people, by the people, for the people, is through freedom and self-reliance.
Resisting tyranny. Resisting tyranny.
They know the Constitution. They know the writings of the founders. The government has betrayed the Constitution, and so they will see themselves as people who are standing up for the Constitution.
Resisting tyranny.
Is through freedom and self-reliance.
Resisting tyranny.
Is through freedom and self-reliance.